Greetings, YouTube. As anyone who's watched my channel for any time at all will know, I like knives. There's probably a dozen blades within arm's reach of me at the moment, not counting the machete lying on the floor. Um, it's in a sheath. And so I frequently look at websites and I get ads for uh, knives and that kind of gear all the time. My Instagram gets that kind of thing frequently, and I follow a number of Instagram feeds which are knife and weapon related. So recently, a cold steel model popped up on my radar. It's from their commercial line, and the commercial line seems to be their lower end base kind of technology level. So it's a steel blade with a molded plastic grip. It seems to be kind of aimed at the same market that might be interested in a base model Mora, which you can pick up for like $10 at some uh, hardware stores like Rockwell, the Rockwell hardware store. I picked up a Mora for $10. It's a lovely little knife. But the model I saw amongst these commercial brands, and the commercial, like there was a cleaver and like a like a butcher style knife, and there was a very base model hunting knife. Again, it seemed to be aimed at the Mora crowd, at that demographic. But there's also one called the Scalper. Now, when you link the word scalping, or scalper with a knife, there is no way to disengage that from some very ugly things. Now, let me say it right up front that the act of scalping existed both in the Old World and the New World prior to the European invasion of the New World. Okay, scalping existed. It had religious and cultural reasons for it to exist in both the Old and New World. I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying that there were both religious and cultural reasons that it was done. The thing is, though, that when the Europeans invaded the New World, they industrialized scalping. They incentivized scalping. They said, if you give us scalps, we will pay you for them in actual currency. So it became part of the overall commerce of the invasion and subjugation of the New World. It became part of the European effort to exterminate the indigenous peoples that lived here. So there is no way to separate those words, scalp, scalper, and scalping, from that imperialistic colonial ugliness. You just can't do it. So jump forward to the 21st century, where we are now in the year 2020. 2020 does seem like the future to me, finally. And what marketing genius decided that using the word scalper was going to be an appropriate term in the modern era? Unless, of course, I'm going to go on a limb here, maybe your desire is to aim at a demographic of purchaser who thinks that the term scalper or scalping or taking a scalp holds a certain macho cachet, which is ugly. Now, I realize that not that long ago, there was a major Tarantino film where there were Americans going after Nazi scalps. Now, that whole film and the entire setting it was put in was ugly. The Nazis were ugly. The concept of scalping Nazis is ugly. It's just an ugly situation. Okay, there is nothing pretty about it. I understand the framing. I get it. So maybe they're going after that demographic, but you still can't separate the idea of scalping and a scalper knife. And there were things described as knives designed for scalping, even though it would be very likely just be done with the most utilitarian blade you had at hand. There's no way to separate that. It's just ugly, racist trope. And there it is. And you're marketing it on the internet, probably in your catalogs. It's available for purchase on your website, and probably from brick and mortar stores out there somewhere. That's ugly. I told my wife about this idea for this video, and she was just stunned when I told her there was a knife out there called a scalper. Because she very wisely, very quickly realized that that's a racist trope, and it's ugly. And why the hell are you using it as a marketing tool? So, yeah, I'm I'm stunned at this. I'm stunned at the weekend warrior, armchair ninja crowd that may think that owning a knife called a scalper is somehow cool, because it isn't. And even though I own cold steel weapons, mostly of the weapon variety as opposed to the knife variety, I makes me feel icky that I've now associated with a company that would do something so unbelievably tasteless.